So,
Should I call this to order
I was
or?
gonna say, we don't have a chair.
What do you wanna do?
Whoever is the chair.
We don't have
We
a
don't have
chair
one.
because Jen was the chair, so we need to reappoint a chair.
Okay, well, so who was the next person under? It will be Jack, right? Wouldn't he have been the next one? Or was there some kind of?
Well, I can call to order, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna nominate Peter, so.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the meeting's called to order, and I want to state for the record that Jeff McKim, Peter Iverson, and Marty Hawk are here in the HR Council Conference Room. So we also have representatives from the Assessor's Office as well as the Employee Services, Sensenstein. Sorry about that. So, the first thing on the, agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Does anyone of the members wish to make a change to the agenda?
I'm looking for the minutes because I did want to make an adjustment for that, but let's go ahead with.
I have no changes to the agenda. Nope.
Okay.
We should nominate you, Chair. This is working out.
The agenda, it's helpful. if you
Those
have
are the
to-
minutes if you wanted to see
Okay.
them.
Okay. If there's no changes to the agenda, then, let's move on to the election of a chair.
I nominate Peter Iverson as chair.
Second,
Okay, so I will then call the roll. Mr. Iverson, do you accept that?
I
nomination?
accept, yes.
Okay, for the nomination of Peter Iverson, Counselor Hawk,
yes.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
and Counselor Iverson.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimous. We have a new chair, and I will turn it over to you now.
All right. Thank you so much, Kim, Michelle, for doing that. Let's go to the one and only item on our agenda. From a department, we have the assessor's office here, and we have two representatives with us. Thank you for joining us on this rainy, gray day.
Thank you.
It looks like we have a slew of things to cover, and all those are review of Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy recommendations that have come back. So let me first kick it off to you, Madam Assessor, and what do you want to say about any of this, and what does the public need to know?
Thank you. First of all, I have to thank this committee that has been up here, all of you, including E and the staff, since September that we have been working on this, and it has been it's been a journey. I can't say it was the most fun I've had in this job, but it was a journey. We finally heard from WIS yesterday. Today, Tuesday, yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday, and I had a chance to look at everything. I can't say that I'm happy about any of it, but it's better than we were. And I do have, I've talked to all of my deputies, and of course, Lisa and I have gone over this with a fine tooth comb. I've also, anyway, we've looked at this very carefully. I do disagree with some of the suggestions or what WIS said. I still think that they haven't understand the whole picture. My issue with this whole process has been the lack of transparency. There's still no transparency. You can read this and it makes no sense. And the equitable and fairness of this process, not the process, but I think you all know that the reason that we started this is I started losing deputies to the auditor's office because for whatever reason, the real estate side of the auditor's office, all but a couple were made Pats. And when you made me Pats, and then my people were still in the comments and even some low comments, the difference between the two offices became almost a $20,000 pay raise or pay increase. And so I lost two people. The first one was one thing. In August, I lost a deputy that had only been with me about 3.5 years. A good deputy, but I couldn't say a word. I mean, bless her heart, anybody that can make 20,000 more, go. But then, the last one really hurt us. It was a deputy that had been in training for over 7 years. And, because of personal problems, personal issues at home, everybody can use an extra 20,000, let's face it, we all would. But I could never, hold Charlotte anything but in great respect. I wish her the best, but this really shows an issue that I have in my office. I can't keep losing people. You cannot hire our way out of this issue. Until WIS came back, I was asked last week by Kate Wiltz, are you gonna hire? And I said, no, how can I hire and not know that what my salaries are gonna be? And so we got this back yesterday and I went over them. And I was disappointed, but I've talked to every deputy and they were hoping for some more, but other than two, I can live with this and they can live with this. And I thank you all for that if we do get this done. However, there are two that are outstandingly, I think, are not correct. The first one is Shelley, which is my property director. And they made her a Pat A.
Wait, I'm sorry,
I know,
move to
the
right.
Property director.
property director,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
7, okay.
Numbers,
Thank
I
you.
know, this is weird, I've got the same
The
thing.
agenda online, that's on page 6, or listed as,
Or in the memo, it's.
Yeah,
on
that's
page
what I have
six.
on
Yeah,
page 6.
Yeah.
the memo.
Oh, on mine it's 4, but I'm sorry, you've got something different. But anyway, Shelley, and it's not about the person, you know that, it's the
Mhm.
position. So the property director position, which is the most important, because everybody's important, but this job is, Shelley has been with us for 35 years. 27, you're 35. 27 years, and Shelley was a deputy when we had the old township assessors. And then I brought Shelley over to us when we got rid of all the townships, and Shelley has been one of my major supervisors and the most important job. She does it all. She is the one that does all of the computer work. Everybody works on the computer, but she does, she goes all the way down and she actually writes programming or helps write programming to the our software developers, because we develop software in this county for our jobs. We were asking this property director to be at least a Pat D. And what I was using the auditor's Pat classifications, and the auditor's property director is a Pat D. And am I going too fast?
No, I'm
Oh,
with you.
yeah, you did.
No, no.
Anyway.
Oh, no, I was agreeing.
She was a Pat, she is a Pat D, and she just accepted that job a few years ago because we lost the person there. They'd been there for quite a few years. And consequently, after she took that job, and I know this job, I don't know every job in the auditors, but this person, this job and the person is phenomenal. She is awesome and she is doing a great job. But in the meantime, after she took it, they made that job, they handed out a couple of positions that the old job did. They were the GIS person as well as real estate. And then they created a GIS person in the auditor's office. Shelley is still doing it all and doing it very, very well. And then unfortunately, the assistant property director is who I lost just last month, stayed with me until the 1st of April, that had been training under Shelley for 7 years. I don't make that up easily. So on Shelley's position, I would respectfully and please don't, if it is only Pat, that's a lot better than it was. But I think there should be some parity between the auditor's position and Shelley's property director, and it is Shelley, but I gotta keep calling her Shelley because it's a property director. I would like to see that one, that WIS, I think they're just wrong. And this is where I get to the point of the transparency. You all have looked at this. I don't know if you know what all these points mean and how you get to points. We have never, ever, as department heads, been shared that, and since we became a WIS county back in the 90s. So I think it's very, it's not transparent. So I'm asking that the property director be moved to the same as the property director in the auditor's office. They do different things, but their responsibilities, I think, I know that the property director in the auditor's office has supervisory over the real estate. And Shelley's the same in our office, other than my chief deputy and myself. Shelley is the next in line. So, and then after Shelley, I think you all know my GIS person, my head of the GIS department. Give me a minute and I'll find that position.
This is the administrator position.
Administrator of GIS. And everybody around this table has worked with her a lot over the years. This position is vital to this office. And the person that has been in this position since she came into the county has been doing GIS. She has done it. She grew up doing it. Her father used to be the director of our GIS place here. And this person has always, and she's gone to school, and she has a AA from Ivy Tech. We didn't put all of that down, but she does have all that. But her job has expanded to doing every bit of the land starts in the GIS assessment administrator position. And if you all don't mind, can I just call her Allie? What's on the record, but Allie Govey, she's irreplaceable. And I hate to say that about anyone, but I'm at that point in this office. There is nobody that I can put in Allie's position without a lot of education. And we do have a new person that we're training. I hope I can keep Allie. But unfortunately, what has happened is that the GIS person that the auditor hired, the new one, is a Pat B.
B.
A Pat B, which is once again thousands. I think it's a good 20,000 less than Allie. This young man, not taking anything away from him, he had very little experience. He'd worked in our GIS department in the county for 3 months part-time. He came in with very little expertise, and I'm not throwing anybody in the bus. Please, people don't think that. But Allie has been training him since he came in, and it really is. It's not right that we're training the people that are making so much more than my staff is, and that's okay. People teach us all the time, also. But Allie's position, I'm respectfully asking to be a B, if not a C, in Pat. The qualifications are there. This job is too much. And Allie has spoke to you guys. You have worked with Allie. I think you know what she does. And the new person, the GIS assessment specialist deputy, who would not be the administrator, she's got a long ways to understand everything. She's learning, but if I lose Allie, guys, I'm not sure what we do, because no one can walk into this job. I don't know if there's anybody hired. I mean, even this young man that was hired down in the auditor's office couldn't come in and do the work in this office because he's still learning so much. So I'm requesting those two to ignore WIS's things, and let's do, I think, what is the best for this county in these two positions. No one's irreplaceable, but I'm telling you right now, I don't know where I would go if I would lose either one, because I have no one left in my office that I can move around. And they don't want to go anywhere. These people have committed. Shelley's been with the county for how many years? Did you tell me?
27.
27 years. This is a commitment. This is a lifetime. And Ally, since she was, what was she, 18 when she came to work for us, or 20?
20.
20? She plans on being here forever and ever and ever, at least till something else comes up. But I'm just saying, we have people in this office. I was looking at Kim, you guys sent, you sent this down and you did a beautiful job, Kim. But I love the way that you did it by years of service. And half of my office are over 16 years. And those are all the level 3s and the two, the chief deputy and the assessor, which are also level 3s.
Well, I want to say that Courtney's the one that put that together. She
Thank you,
asked,
Courtney.
she
You
asked
did a-
if it should be done, and I said, yeah, I think it would help you guys see what's going on.
Well, she also did it. I mean, you all
Yeah.
work together. And I really appreciate, because trust me, if you don't, you can see my scratches. It takes a village to raise me. And Councilman McKim, Marty, and Peter, I can't thank you enough. Jeff, you've been part of this team that we've built in my office ever since you came into this position. And unfortunately, I think we're gonna lose you for some reason. I don't know where you're going. You're not dead either, and that's my criteria for leaving these offices. Death.
PAC does not approve that policy.
You
All right,
know,
well, can I
yes,
kick
go
it?
ahead. You kick in.
Well, so I just want to thank you for your comments. This is 12 positions that
Yes,
we received
so
back
much.
from WIS, and I want to look to my PAC colleagues who you just mentioned. What responses do you have? Councilmember Hawk, let's start with you.
Yes, when I reviewed what, was sent and they compared us to other counties.
Mhm.
And regrettably, we didn't have that early enough for me to get a head start. I have a motion to make regarding that later in the meeting. However, so yesterday and today, I've been trying to contact those other counties. Because we know part of the major, angst here was because for years, the positions in the assessor's office, regarding the property and the property side of the auditor's office were both very much the same. And so when we received this from Wes, they only looked at the assessor's jobs. And by the way, they were looking at data entry, and our county assessor is doing a whole lot more than data entry.
That's
That's where they got those lower numbers. So I thought that the important thing to do to resolve what's going on here in our county, because we're unique, for some reason, on the property side, the auditor's office jumped up to Pat's a few years ago. Well, there's no secrets in this county, and there never will be. Don't think you're gonna keep a secret, because it's not a secret. And the people in the assessor's office started looking, and they saw, no wonder they're moving, that the auditor's office, which used to be the same classification, was higher. So I think the thing that could have done or should have done, had we had a discussion with them that they would listen to, is that they would look not just at the assessors in comparable counties, but also the auditors to see if they were paid similar. And so that's the reason why I contacted Porter County. Dave at Porter County was all over, I'm gonna get you, send you all this, and I haven't had time to review it. And then the Hamilton County office also sent information. So it is clear to me, for instance, with Hamilton County, they have separate townships. We no longer have township assessing as we once did. And they have three other satellite offices. Not that they're elected separately, but they have managerial positions over certain portions. And they also, in one of those budgets, the field inspectors are paid an additional amount. Now, we know that we do have field inspectors, but we also have a team from the assessor's office who go out routinely, and Peter's been there with them, and I've been there with them,
Yeah.
to do field inspections. That is a part of their routine, providing the service and to talk with the people that we serve out there. So we didn't see any adjustment for that as well. So I'm just saying that I think it's not unrealistic to have an adjustment for these assessors' positions. Because if we are ever to make them more even with the auditor's office, and as to be clear, I do not think anyone's suggesting we reduce the auditor's staff salary. We've never said we would do that.
Glad that's not what
Yeah.
we're suggesting.
That is never my suggestion. My suggestion is that we put them back on even keel as we should have done when this first happened. And we saw it happen and we didn't recognize what had happened when that all came about. So, I haven't had a chance to speak with our county assessor about this. I did try to reach her this morning over and over there. Because I didn't know whether I know you've been in meetings on me. I didn't know whether you wanted any of this presented or not,
That's
but
fine.
you know what? Figures are figures, facts are facts, and I just thought it's public information. I was gonna share it, whether it makes any difference to anyone or not. That's the case, but it is clear, first of all, well, this has to do with the minutes that I'll get to after bed, but first of all, because it would take them so long to train anybody. You know what that's like? You get somebody new, I don't have time training. And they've got more to do than they're ever going to get done unless we just keep a whip over them, keep going, don't stop, don't eat, don't go play. We've got to give them more hours because that's the only way it's ever going to work. But that's a decision to be made by the county council. But it is a part of what I tried to gather information for you to have a better feeling of what has been going on for, when did this happen before, when this classifications got?
Oh, when the auditor,
You mean the
That was about
auditor
a
or
year
the
ago.
entire?
When the auditor went to WIS and got them changed.
2019?
Around
Maybe.
20 to pack.
It was late. It was.
Yeah, it was before COVID and before the big,
Yeah, right,
Big change.
because, and then it was after COVID, when we were looking at the salary changes and the employees were like, okay, enough's enough. Okay, but regardless, we are where we are. And if we are to make it fair, then I think we have to make sure that these two jobs are, and classifications are pretty close to being similar. Now, if it's one thing to say the employees are perfectly fine to not be Pats, but if it would appear that something more of them should be Pats, then we need to make sure that we're looking at that closely. And that's just my 2 cents.
Well, thank you for your 2 cents. It matters, and I think it's worth more than 2 cents. Let's see what Mr. McKim has to say.
well, first of all, it's interesting, the two positions that you brought up, were the two that I noticed that seemed like they were, because it just didn't make sense that they were classified as comments. So, the property director and the GIS administrator certainly seem like professional positions, and it would be hard to have people, to be able to retain people without those kinds of professional classifications in those positions. The one question I did have is how much of the salary difference between the two is a result of is the difference between 35 hours and 40 versus classification? Because that's definitely, the 40 hours to me seems like, I know that's not within the purview of PAC, but that is a major difference. And that is a way that all the auditor's office people get a lot more.
It's 7,000.
Right, but I do
Okay,
think
yeah,
we
that's
have
what
to
I
change
was
classification as well.
I'm not convinced of all of them. I am definitely at least convinced of the property director and the assessment administrator, the GIS administrator. I'm open to being convinced of some of the others, but those were the two that stood out in my mind as well as being hard to believe that
So-
those could be.
So do you want the difference between a Pat D 35 and a Pat D 40? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get an idea.
Okay.
If we're talking about, $20,000 difference, how much of that is classification versus how much is?
Well,
Let's-
if,
Yeah, let's just do the 1 year, just to give a, cause I'm
Yeah,
not
just
sure.
pick
you're doing
Right.
it,
Just pick
see
one.
both.
Right, they're both,
40.
yeah,
And
so,
what she was looking at was that if you already in a comment C or whatever, and at Pat D at 40. That's what she was looking at.
Right, but go ahead and give me
Right.
what you're looking at.
okay, so a Pat D 35 is 58,768, and a Pat D, 40 is 67,164,
Okay,
so-
so it's almost a $10,000 raise
Almost.
just to go from
from 35,
35 to 40
Yeah.
and plus.
and it's about the same.
It kind of works that way across. What I
Across.
did, what we did yesterday and today, because I sit down and I've gone through this with a fine tooth comb. Because you've talked over the years about going to 40 and I've always said no. But that's when I had a full staff. And I can't hire anybody right now. And we've got so much work to do. And that's what I was showing you guys last week. And Kate Wiltz was getting to that in her comments that, well, hire, and I can't. So I think that what I need to do is go to 40 hours in order to get the job done. And so what I was looking at was the difference between 35 and 40 as they are classified right now with WIS. It was on the average $7,000 across the board, 7,000 for that extra hour a day, 5 days a week. And we're talking 11 people. So that's 11 hours a day to this math, 11 hours a day. And that's a little over 100 hours a week. That would be 3 full-time people in my office to hire. Well, I only have one position left to open. And if you think I'm gonna start asking for more people, yeah, we just can't do that. You can only have so much people in your office, but if the work keeps doing what it is, we've got to go to more hours. And I've talked to my staff because I'm sure not making this decision without them. Because you can lose people that way, because for years, they've all worked 35 hours and held 2
People
and 3
used to like
jobs.
that.
But they still do.
Do they
But,
like?
oh, yes, but the problem is, what's happened over the years, a lot of these people are working 2 and 3 jobs. And I'm not exaggerating that. I have at least 2 people right now that are mothers. And they work here 35 hours and then they go at night and work 2 other jobs. Now, that's not acceptable. It never has to me. And by doing what we've done, and these aren't my major people, but they're younger people. And, I just think the equity for this positions, because these are professional,
Throw me a pen, please.
Places.
So.
We'll have to
Oh, thank
remember,
you.
you have to say that, information provided with the entire council, because we don't.
No, and I will be more than, and to the public, and one thing that I would like to get on record, some of the things that's come out is that everybody started looking at each other's salary. You guys all realize that that's public information. It was published on the front door for what, a month out there, anyone and their brothers. And so we've never go around looking, but everybody does know what everybody makes. You know that.
Mm.
You all know what I make. You all know what Lisa, and I know what Elizabeth
You can
makes.
go on Gateway and
That's what
get
I
it. Any
mean.
member of the public
So
can go. and-
anyone
Yeah.
can see this. So I'm not sure why it became like, oh, well, we're looking at people. Well, we're just doing what everybody else does.
It's part of working in the government.
Yeah.
It's that your
Every
salary is
place.
public.
Everything.
Mr. McKim, do you have additional questions?
Yeah, so the property director, to make that position parallel with the auditor, would be a Pat D, right?
Correct.
Is that right, D? And then the GIS administrator, essentially to make that parallel with the coordinator would be, or GIS customer service rep would be a Pat
Pat
B.
B.
Mhm.
And I think, if I may, real quick, I think I asked for parity with Shelley. Did I not? Did I say a Pat D to,
Yeah,
no, Ally to a Pat D, not a B. when we started this whole process. Not that, I
yes,
mean,
I
I'm
think-
happy with B, but I'm just saying,
I believe the initial request, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if we're trying to
You're
make
being
things
fair.
parallel with the auditor, that,
totally.
I think that's your best
And I-
argument is to be
Totally
parallel
agree.
with the auditor. So that,
Totally agree.
that would make that position a patent.
Yeah,
Do you see any other thing?
Well, then, okay,
It's
let's,
the
let's,
See, you have that?
yeah, I'm kind of.
Yeah,
pushing between
I'm
the
just
two.
like, I'm blind with looking at numbers.
Okay.
You know. like that-
So what are your other kind of managerial position? You've got the market data analysis.
You know what, and Courtney and everybody made this so easy to tell you what I would love to see. Every level 3 should be a PAT,
Every what?
level 3. And those are the top people. That's exactly what Jeff just asked. That is my, 2 people in the Peterboa, and you guys know that they're unique. And, that's,
The assistant administrator to Peterboa?
yeah, both of them do the same thing, but that's a whole different ballgame, what they do. And the other is, Daniel,
Is
Yeah.
which one?
Can you?
market data.
market data
Yeah.
person. They're all level 3s. And those are the ones that have to be level 3.
Mhm.
And, I think the level 3 and their job, what we've created and what they've created over the years warrants a pat. The others, not taking anything away from them, the comment Ds and Cs that they are, I think is very fair. Because if anyone would be more of a data entry person, it's those people. But my Peterboa, 2 administrative assistants and Daniel,
Mhm.
yeah, and that's it because Ally and Shelley are already, so it's just the 5 of them. Personal, no, absolutely not.
Okay,
She's not a 3 and never
Okay,
will
that's-
be.
all right. So,
Which one is Neely? See,
Neely's-
I'm like you, I only know where they sit and what they say, but I don't know what you.
So you're basically saying the market data analysis administrator
Oh, here.
should be
Yeah.
probably a Pat A compared to. the
I would,
auditor's office, right?
Exactly. And then, Pat A, that's what I asked for. And to start
Pat A.
with was Pat A's. And then the 2 Peterboa people, because that is a whole different ballgame. They're practically legal secretaries at this point. And then that's it. Because you've already talked about, Shelley and Ally,
Yeah.
the property director and the GIS. There's a reason for these level 3s, people. It's the people that have the most responsibility, the most, I don't know, complicated, complex jobs. And that's what I would ask, respectfully, really ask for. Everybody else, we're good, and they're good.
I just want to point out that the property director, if moved to a Pat D, will be overseeing the market data as well as the GI. person. So I don't know if you technically want to move that person to a Pat D, maybe the C because of the reporting structure. You know, I'm,
Change your, what, I don't-
What?
You've lost
Right.
me on that.
well, didn't you
Shelley
say
is
that?
over all those people.
Right, so you're saying that you want the market director person to be a Pat D?
No,
No,
hey.
A.
Oh, A, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
That's what it's like,
That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so
Just
that's,
A.
And then this.
just A.
Yeah, because that's kind of
That- that-
parallel
Pat D.
with the auditor's
You're
office.
right.
With
Okay.
property director is a Pat D, the GIS is a Pat B, and then they also have an economic development coordinator, which is probably a little bit like the market data
I think so.
Right,
position. That's a Pat A.
Okay.
So those 3 definitely make
Those are
sense.
good.
And so
Pat A,
then,
okay,
and so then you're also saying the 2 Peterboa.
and
The
then,
2 Peterboa, they've always been, they both are, level 3s. But they also, their job is so different than anything else in the office. They act as more of like a legal, not secretary even. They're the ones that administrate the board. And that's always been recognized. Those 2 were my, highest paid before. They were Comet
D's.
Ds, they were common Ds, weren't they?
Or C.
Cs, they were Cs, and now they
Go
made them
back up.
Ds, but we were wanting them to go to Pat also because of what they're doing.
What is the difference between the two positions?
They both are doing this. This job is once again gotten so complex that I have to have two people there. And they're doing the exact same thing. The only thing is Neely has started representing me, if only one time, because I hit every appeal. At the state level, I couldn't do a state appeal, like just recently. So Neely set in as the assessor, which she can do, and so can Jennifer. So I had Neely do it, but what they do right now, I mean, I had a whole list of stuff. If you read what they do, we are now in appeals. It used to be just 3 or 4 months a year. We're in appeals 12 months a year. And the board's in session all the time. And, the paperwork that, the expertise, they have to know everything that everybody does in that office, be able to do everything and to be able to defend it all the way to the state, and it happens.
I guess what I'm trying to get at though is the difference between the two, because there's two of them, at least in the org chart. One is listed as level 2,
That's
the other is
because
level
the
3.
only reason that right now they were both paid the same, the level 2, Jennifer is working on her level 3,
She didn't have it yet.
but when she gets her level 3, and they're already doing, I mean, they are like twins. They just sit there and they do everything together. And
So are they really the same position rather than, because one of them is listed as I would just feel uncomfortable making them both Pat A say if one of them is the administrator and the other is assistant.
Well,
administrator.
and that is because they're listed like that on the org chart is because that's the way they came in from WIS on the job descriptions. One is listed as administrator to Peterboa and the other one is listed as assistant administrator.
but they
So-
both do the same work.
Why do you call it co-administrator?
Or just administrator.
The
Or just
administrator-
administrator.
That's fine.
Just
I don't care what you
And
call
they
them,
they both report directly to you.
Right.
directly to me.
They don't report to the state. Okay, that's what I
No
was
one
trying to
else.
get.
This is
One is not
strictly
the
us.
assistant and the
Right.
other.
Right.
Okay.
They're the,
Then that-
they're
then-
the
okay.
administrator.
Thank you,
Work
Eve.
Together, but they report.
And this is the only division, department in my office that just reports directly to me. Everybody else has the hierarchy of Shelley, Lisa, and then me. These two people and me, this is like a whole different office.
And they also go out and do the field inspection.
Yeah, and they're the field inspectors that do it
All right,
also.
hold on. Mr. McKim, do you have any further questions at this point?
I do not.
All right, Michelle, you seem like you have a burning one.
So what level are you asking for Peterboa?
I would say,
What are you on that?
Yeah,
ew,
On the salary grid, we were talking about
a B.
a B is what I was hearing.
okay.
However, that motion has not been made yet. And before we get to.
But
that
I'm just getting
yeah.
her recommendation
I'm
so that I've got,
waiting on
yeah.
Jack's
You know,
motion.
I think
I want to ask
that,
a question before we get to the motion.
I don't remember what I put in, what I asked for. Was,
C after
I
the-
think we
C.
put C, but that's okay. B's fine. I mean, I will go anything that you guys at this point, just to get them where they're making what I think they should. And I think that with both of them, with their longevity, a B would be very fair.
Okay,
Okay, I just want to make sure I got
Before-
what you
I
were
know.
recommending.
Thank you.
before we get to motions made by my colleagues, I wanted to ask a question. Because we've been spending 40 minutes talking about the salary grid. But in today's packet, there's something that's equally as important, and that is the job descriptions.
Yeah.
We spent probably hundreds of staff
Oh,
hours.
you did.
Creating those job descriptions that went to WIS. And my question to you is, after reviewing those, do you feel like those job descriptions accurately reflect the work that is being done in your office?
I do.
Okay,
Because, and I thank you guys for that, because you actually stepped in and helped and we made them, they are works of art.
well, what was really happening was the job descriptions that we had weren't
Weren't
reflecting the
reflecting the
technical
technical.
this,
exactly.
difficulty that was being done, or the way that technology has influenced
That's
the way that you're doing the work. And I'm glad to hear you say that you, after reviewing those job descriptions, feel like that is reflecting the work that is actually being done.
I think that's what was so disappointing in the WIS,
Yes.
what WIS came back, because they were nothing like they used to be, and they weren't acknowledged at all, and it was just like, and not to get into the weeds here, but you know, I know about every county in the state and work with every county. And for whatever reason, I've said this to you and I've said it to everybody else in the state, and we'd all agree. WIS doesn't seem to recognize what we have become as assessors. They don't understand. And they still have us as the poor stepchild of government. And it's very plain. And we can't keep doing that. And I was glad to, and gosh, thank you, Marty, that you took the initiative to go to these other counties, because it's very interesting, the PAT positions, because WIS had never given a PAT to anyone that I knew of. And so I think it validates that we should be looking, because we are a technical, professional technical
Absolutely.
office, and you guys know that. You've worked very closely with my staff, so thank you all.
Good, good, good. All right, Pat, do you have anything else to add on this agenda item?
So I guess I can make a motion. Let me just first of all say that I am persuaded by the need for more parallelism between the assessor's office and the auditor's office. I think that's and I'm disappointed that that wasn't reflected in WIS's recommendations. So I move that we forward to the council the following recommendations. Property Director, Pat D. PETA Administrator, Pat B. GIS Assessment Administrator, Pat B. Market Data Analysis Administrator, Comment D. Sales disclose.
I think that.
That was.
That's what
Oh,
you're-
I'm sorry, you're right, I'm sorry,
Pat
Pat
A.
A, sorry, Pat A on that one, sorry. Sales Disclosure Specialist, Comment C.
Yes.
Assistant Property Director, Comment D. Real Estate Reassessment Specialist, Comment C. Personal Property Specialist Supervisor, Comment D. Floating Assessor Specialist, Comment C. And Personal Property Assessment Specialist, Comment C.
A motion is on the floor. Do we need to have that motion restated due to its complexity, or is there a second?
What was the last one?
I,
Personal Property Assessment Specialist, Comment C.
were you two following to make sure it
Yes,
is?
ma'am.
So just to recap the PATs.
Okay.
The PATs were Property Pat D, Property Director Pat D, GIS Administrator Pat B, Market Data Specialist Pat A, and PETA Administrator Pat B.
Okay.
Again, we have a motion. Can we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Now on to discussion of the motion on the floor. I'm looking to the Madam Assessor. Do you have any comments or questions about this?
The comments, I appreciate everything you all done. And what you've done today is over and above what I thought would happen. I'm very appreciative, and I know my staff will just be ecstatic. And so thank you very, very much. So it looks like all of my level 3s will be Pats, and everybody else will be in the Cs and the Ds. And I think that is very, very fair. On the PETA, just to make it a little bit more clear, both of those ladies, you're just gonna call them administrators, PETA administrators.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable with it because.
I know you did. It sounded like they were
Said that-
different.
Right, it sounded like there was a hierarchy, but you're saying there's no hierarchy.
Absolutely.
So let's,
So can
Let's
you
not.
amend your motion to change the title?
Oh, okay.
well, that's
To-
all I said. Okay,
Okay,
but yeah,
So
okay.
both, are administrators.
Administrator.
Administrators.
Administrators.
Yeah, they're administrators, yeah.
Does that work?
All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at HR over there. Does that work? Okay.
And that's what I was gonna come to next if you're finished with your comment.
Finished.
Do you have any comments or anything on this?
The only comment I have is that I did see the information that Marty had gathered from the other counties, and I am curious as to why those counties have other PATs in the assessor's office, and WIS did come back with no recommendation other than one PAT. So I think that you are going in the right direction of trying to
And
rectify the disparity between the
Right.
offices, but also, like you said, the other counties are doing the same work and they're being. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Thank you. Your advice is important to us, so
Right.
appreciate it. Michelle,
Oh.
or just one second. Do you have any question or comments or questions as you are not only taking the minutes, but also are doing the background work on this?
You did the
Mhm.
specials, yeah, and so, no,
You
I
got-
think I have everything, so.
All right.
For how I'm going to fix things.
Before I ask for a vote, let's have additional comments.
I just wanted to make sure that we're all aware of, I think maybe I was the only one still alive back at the time, that we, got WIS to begin with. And when Kent Irwin made it clear to Barb Clark, and myself, that if we did not do something like this, put in some kind of classification system, that we could have people on one side of the office making something, doing something real similar to what another office was doing, that we were looking at a lawsuit. Because all we had to do was say, well, someone was a different color, or someone was
Well, it's
married to
political,
someone
or,
different.
yeah, it's political, yeah.
It's political.
And so to take that away, we have to make these two positions much more simple. And I appreciate all the hard work. It's been 8-9 months of that office waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's clear to me, we did not have good communication, and I have another motion put on the floor since we get through with this one.
All right. Any other discussion on Mr. McKim's motion?
May I just ask one
Please,
question?
yes, yeah.
The GIS person in the auditor's office, do they supervise anyone?
No,
Mhm.
Because our GIS person does supervise
one, yeah.
one person and also is a major trainer of not just that person, but others as well.
I mean, generally, in terms of supervising, I know we've kind of
It's
talked about
loosely.
definitions of supervising, and it's, we generally supervising one person doesn't usually make
Constitute a
Constitute.
supervisor.
Yeah,
Okay, what did you move the GIS person to?
Right now, it's the
Pat
two.
B.
it would be to, Pat B.
Which is what it is in the auditor's office.
And what is it now? What is that?
The
position?
comment D.
Comet D, which was really not good.
Yeah.
The only thing on my GIS, she does train everybody in the office on the GIS. I mean, that's what she does. And she works so closely with the forester and everybody, I mean, the other state agencies that we have to, and I don't think the auditor's office GIS does that. I mean,
So she does the training and helps write the programming and so
oh,
forth, is that
gosh,
correct?
yes. And she's been such a help to our major GIS people, the new department that because John didn't understand a lot of stuff, so John works very closely with Ally. Ally has created so many different programs for us that I know that,
Well,
I know you're running out of
So
time,
we've
but
got to move.
I'm trying,
you're really trying, Jeff, and I understand.
I'm trying, and I'm also trying to make sure it is about the position.
And not the
I mean,
person.
I get that there
And
are
just a
some-
reminder, the motion on the floor is to recommend to council, and council will be making the
Right.
decision.
Yeah.
So council could make,
They don't, and no offense to the council, but they don't understand my office as much as you
Well,
three.
hey, we need their vote. We
Vote, and I'm
everyone.
fine with that.
all right. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Let's see, we can do a voice vote.
You can
Right.
because everybody is present.
Whichever.
All right.
I'm.
All those in favor of Mr. McKim's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it unanimously. So now we get back to the original review of WIS recommendations. Are there additional amendments or motions to what we have before us?
Do we recommend, I know there's been other times that we have made recommendations that this was supposed to be 40 hours. It came from here to the council. Now it's really a council decision. But are we going to put that as a part of the recommendation?
You've done it both ways, so.
So
If you want to make a motion,
Right.
go ahead.
I would recommend, as a part of the motion, that we send it to the council, with positive recommendation from the way the motion has been amended, and to include that to be for 40 hours.
Second.
A motion and a second is on the floor to move assessor positions to 40 hours. Is there any discussion on the motion? My question is that's for all of the positions in the assessor's office that are at 35 hours? We're
Yes.
moving everything up to
Yes.
40 hours, okay?
Okay.
The way it is in the auditor's office, that's the
Yep.
way it is in legal. We've been moving a lot of departments, that planning, we've been moving a lot of departments.
Well,
In
yeah,
that direction.
yeah.
Please.
Oh, no, I'm perfectly happy if you guys
Oh,
are
you're perfectly happy.
perfectly
All right.
happy. I was
If you
thinking,
want to know how to be perfectly happy, come work for Monroe County Government.
I do have just one real
Question
quick,
on the
because I
motion.
wasn't sure about what you were gonna ask. And you've been so gracious. Could we do retroactive to January since this has been going on?
Oh,
For
it's
10
That would be a council thing.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but could it be, I mean, what do you guys think?
I'm looking to my PAC members to get the temperature of the room on this.
I don't know.
I've gotten beat back on other, retroactive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
It's just, this has been the longest thing that
It's
we've
not-
ever
It really. is.
gone through.
all right, we have a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. Is there any further conversation? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of Councilmember Hawk's motion, please say aye. All those opposed, the motion has been adopted unanimously. So we now have the assessor's office, the recommendation to council now is to make these pretty big changes to the salary compensation grid for the positions. We have new job descriptions and we're moving everyone up to 40 hours a week. We will then bring that to council and see what council says about this.
I'm going to check, what we normally do is, this was approved at PAC, it will be on the April 9th meeting, so
Next week.
next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Yes.
a heart attack before this is over with. Just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
tell you.
you were perfectly happy.
Yes.
I'm perfectly happy. Now I have to go before the whole council. You guys
You
know
get
I
to.
do not do that very well.
Well,
Oh, you
you
did.
smile and smile and be very quiet.
Yeah.
You know, a very wise person said to me once, once you get what you want, shut up.
I totally agree.
Hold on.
That's a good point.
It is a
Don't
good-
talk yourself into doing that.
Let's do some meeting coaching in a little bit, but first we have some summary minutes from February 6th.
Okay.
And Councilmember Hawk, what do you have to say about the summary?
Right.
minutes?
I think, they missed the point, whoever did the summary minutes.
Okay.
Jeff Kim made it clear when we were talking to the health department, and I followed up and was making it explicitly clear
Let's get it done.
that
We're
the
not gonna get retroactive.
classification is not tied to, oh, we've got a lot of work to do. If it's all the same kind of work, you hire more people to do the same kind of work. And that is why I said it's important whoever's writing the job descriptions in your department to understand what we're saying here. It has not to do with the amount of work. It has to do with the changes of the complexity
Yeah.
of the job. And that was a major part of our discussion that was left completely out of the minutes. It just made it sound like as if we said, well, it's important to have somebody know how to write a job description. That's not what I said at all. But however, so that needs to be clear.
I will fix that.
Okay. So, you know, I don't know why Helen's phone. Anyway, there, I'm just thinking that needs to be changed.
All right, any other changes to the minutes? All those in favor of the summary minutes for February 6th, please say aye.
Aye.
As amended.
With,
As
with,
amended, as
with
amended.
Councilor Hawks.
Yeah. So let me be clear, all those in favor of the Councilor Hawks amended summary minutes of February 6th, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. All right, the next meeting of this body, we don't have a meeting in May, do
We
we?
don't have a meeting in May, but I do know that we have a, YSD is, planning on coming back. And maybe the health department, I'm sitting down with the health department one more time to review their job descriptions. So I'm wondering if, you guys would have a date in May, or do you want, because, the one in May is actually election day.
Oh, well, but
So-
I.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll not be here.
Peter will.
Nothing
Right.
I will not be here.
So,
Can we do, meet the next week on the 14th?
that, which is council meeting day. So do you want to do two meetings in the same?
Councilmember Hawk, I'm looking to you because you gotta come in twice.
Well, I won't, of course, but I'll do whatever I can do, some on,
Well,
I would like to go ahead and set a tentative date, in the hopes that we have everything ready, but if not, I mean, we can
I
cancel
mean,
it, but,
you could do like on Monday.
yeah. I mean, and it's totally up to you guys.
all right, let's tentatively
Yeah.
look at Monday, the 13th.
Yeah, that, I would prefer that.
Okay.
Monday,
not the
May the
second meeting
13th,
on
And
Tuesday.
then, Ms. Michelle, would you mind sending something out to the three of us to make
Yes.
sure that that works, not only for this room, but also for the agenda, and who's gonna be on that
And
agenda?
I don't know about anybody else, but on meeting day, are you not getting emails all day long and working all
Yes.
day long to
Yeah.
get ready? So we
Yeah.
can take an
Yeah.
hour and a half out to do something.
All right, if there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and Kim, just FYI, it looks like, and I just found that
Hold on
out.
one
before
second, the
coming.
meeting's not been muted yet. Can we mute the meeting?
No. What we do, just leave.